This is the JJO Morning Show podcast with Johnny and D. Listen, rate, subscribe.
Phil?
Hello?
Phil Labonte?
Hello?
Phil. You know what the best line is in Groundhog Day? It's not Ned Ryerson lines. It's when he goes downstairs and he goes, "Do you have deja vu?" She goes, "No, but I'll check with the kitchen." There's some weird microwave.
Bill Murray movies are
they?
classic, and if you haven't watched Groundhog Day, you need to. Which I imagine there are probably a handful of listeners that haven't watched it. But man, Bill Murray is an absolute treasure.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
an absolute treasure.
So we do a Groundhog Day broadcast where our friend Lance dresses in a groundhog costume. And if he can chug a beer, I can't remember the time limit we put on it. I feel like it changes.
So the whole premise is if he can chug a beer any lot of time, there will be an early spring. If not, and that's like giving candy to an alcoholic.
Do you freeze the beer? It happens in February.
We're going to make it a pitcher this time.
Just leave it sitting out in front of the hole overnight.
The man's a professional. Of course, it's going to be an early spring. Lance is drinking.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Good
so
for
dumb.
Thank you, Lance. We appreciate your contribution,
especially around here. Hey, thanks for coming in, dude.
I love you guys. Thank you for
That's
having
so cool.
me.
Heck yeah.
You guys have been so wonderful to us for so long, and I've been friends with Dee for so long, and you guys it's been great.
I was going to ask you guys, how long have you known each other? I mean, you've been around forever. You guys kind of came on the same timeline. Although when we signed JJO on in '97, you were a thing in,
I want to say like 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah, because I feel like it started at band camp.
Yep.
When Sarah won the competition to come on stage and play guitar with you guys.
Yes.
I feel like that's when it started. And then we just kept talking after that kind of thing. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a long-time friendship now. It's like real. It's not fake.
Right.
She has my phone number, and I'll reply. If she calls, I'll answer.
So what do I have to do to kind of get
wedge your way in there?
To wedge my way into this relationship?
Make sure that he drinks the beer fast so the winter ends earlier. If you can do that this year.
I thought you were going to say, buy a ticket to the show, asshole, and you're in a little circle of trust.
No way. You get in for free.
Everything's going to be
You
fine.
get in for free. You kidding me?
How's the Megadeth tour?
It is amazing. So like Dave Mustaine has a reputation, right, of being kind of prickly or whatever.
Yes.
He has been the most accommodating, most friendly dude. Like,
Good.
literally, there were people on the tour that were like, "Hey, look, make sure you go say hi to Dave." Like the first couple days, right? And they're like, "Make sure you go say hi to Dave because he wants to
like a kiss the ring thing, or just hang out and be."
No, it was he wants to know everybody. He was like, and his whole the whole Megadeth team has been great, right? So the whole band is great. And the crew's been great, but one of the things that's really struck me the most is how accommodating they are. Like, sometimes you'll get on tour with a headliner's like, we're doing our thing, you're here, stay out of our way.
Yeah.
We'll give you, this is how much space you got. We don't want to hear anything. This is your catering. We don't want to hear anything. This is what you signed up for. That's it. And if they're like that, you're like, okay, that's 100% true.
Great
and
opportunity.
Yeah, you don't take offense to it. You're like, thank you for the opportunity, right? Megadeth has been absolutely accommodating. They're
That's
like,
awesome.
do you guys need anything? If you want anything, let us know. Get in touch with our security
Have you ever asked
guy.
for the headlining spot?
No. No, I haven't.
Suggestion hand in the corner?
I am
No.
dumb. I am not that dumb.
I'm dumb. I'm not that dumb.
But I can't say enough good things about how incredibly great they've been. The Mudvayne guys have been all great too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've known Chad for years and years. I mean, we did a bunch of stuff with Hell Yeah and stuff like that. So I've been friends with Chad for ages. But this is the first time that I actually got to hang out around the Megadeth guys. I got to interview Dave years ago one time, and it was really cool. He was nice, and I got to fanboy a little bit when I met him. I was like, man, the first time I saw Megadeth was in like 1991, and I was a kid, and it's so sick to be here, man. Thank you for letting us out. It was Judas Priest and Testament. It was the coolest thing ever, man. All excited and stuff. And he was totally cool, and I can't say enough good things. The tour's been amazing. This is exactly what you hope a tour would be.
That's so great. I love that for you. And I think too the prickliness, I love that adjective for Dave Mustaine. I think that he has that reputation just because he doesn't really have time for people's BS. Yep. And so and if you're a woman and you have that reputation, you get called the C word. And if you're a dude and you have that reputation, you're a dick. But in reality, you're not. You're just an efficient person, and you don't have time for anybody's crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of the back and forth social stuff that people do that is kind of unnecessary, but you do it so that way you don't seem offensive, or so that way you're friendly and stuff. And there are people that are just like, all that stuff is BS and I don't care.
Right.
And for me, I'm comfortable with that. Like I said, if they were like, this is the time that you deal with it, would be like, thanks for the opportunity.
Right.
Cool. Awesome. I can totally, I'm a grown up, I'm an adult. I'm not going to take offense. Like, it's totally fine. But they have gone above and beyond for us. They have been absolutely
I would think any band would be a little giddy to go out and play cornhole with Dave Mustaine in the band, backstage. That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fan, you're a fan.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where stage you're at.
Yeah. He's actually invited. He's like, he brings his jiu-jitsu trainer out, and he's like, you guys want to roll? And I haven't had the opportunity to roll yet, but I would really be excited to roll.
Go slow. You're a white belt.
I am a white belt, and I'm broken. And Dave's a purple belt.
We heard this off the air. I don't think this was for air.
Oh, it's fine.
But Phil got his ass kicked by an orange belt, and the knee is a little wonky right now. Is the knee wonky?
It wasn't even an orange belt. He was a white belt too. It's embarrassing, but he went. He was a little excitable when he went for a takedown, and he messed up my knees.
Yeah.
It was a couple years ago, and it still bothers me.
No kidding.
I still wear a brace and stuff, so it was a bummer, and I don't like that guy anymore.
Oh, we're not friends.
We're definitely not friends.
He was a white belt, but he was 280.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
Didn't
No
turn out
joke.
real well. Right.
That's part of the thing that made me mad. I'm
For
like,
sure.
dude, like
They'll
I'm
just
5'.
sit on you.
Yeah, I'm like 5'6". You had all kinds of options. He was taller than me. He had better reach, and you go for my leg and you mess it up. What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you?
What got you started doing jiu-jitsu?
I don't want to get old and fat.
Yeah, totally.
And also, I mean, like, so that I'm kind of a pro gun kind of guy, and I wanted like a medium gear too, because like now it's kind of like if you carry a gun, you kind of gotta, if something happens, you kind of gotta go for the gun, because if they go for the gun, you're in trouble. So like I wanted like an intermediate thing to be able to, if I can't defuse the situation totally, then I want to be able to, at least have some kind of backup that isn't just going to, the worst case scenario.
Right, so, for sure. Yeah. That's awesome. I cannot do the jiu-jitsu thing because it's close contact sweatiness.
You're like, I don't like pajamas.
Right. Anti-pajama.
Yeah, but you have boob sweat you got to worry about too.
Yeah.
Those knockers.
Well, I like everything about the MMA classes except for the rolling. I like the striking. I like the Muay Thai stuff. I like all of that. But the ground stuff, no, thank you.
No?
Yeah.
Just the claustrophobic part of it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I'm a lesbian because I don't like dudes on top of me. Like, sweaty, breathy.
Bad breath. And then dudes don't think about brushing their teeth before they go to roll. And you're like, dude, I tap. Oh, God, halitosis. I'm tapping. Let me go. Jesus.
I say the best shape I've ever been in my life is when I took 8 years of karate in this town.
Yeah.
And then I screwed my knee up, too. I had this tournament and screwed myself up. I fought a 78-year-old man, and he flattened me like a pancake. But I have never been, to this day, I'm kind of mad I quit. And I feel like I've got too many injuries piling up now to get back into it, but I don't want to stretch my tendons any more than I have to. But boy, I'll tell you, man, if I had a kid, I'd put him in karate when he was 3.
Yeah, so I'm really an active guy and stuff. And when I would do cardio, and I tend to do cardio regularly and try and stay moving around and stuff like that. And when I started rolling, I was like, oh, this is totally different because you get you get like a 5-minute roll, and then there's a break, and then like for usually like 1 or 2 minutes, and then you 5-minute roll and or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be okay. And as soon as you start rolling, you're like,
yeah.
It's different.
If you want some all-around training and you want a little bit of that, start kicking and hitting a bag for 5 minutes at a time.
Dude, even doing the 2-minute rounds.
Incorporate that into your training. And because it's going to take you a while to get up to 5 minutes.
I think adults are less interested in fighting, not because they're not interested in hurting the other person. They just they're tired.
For sure.
I know. Look, man, I would love to smash your face in, but do you know how tiring that is? I am going home and, just like I'm not catching I'm gonna fall down.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
I don't want any police contact. I have a high deductible.
My insurance is going to go through the roof, but God, you suck.
Yep. See, this is adulting. You think about all of these things. So your frontal lobe is fully developed.
Dude, I was thinking about you last night.
Well, that's weird.
Yes, what a lead-in.
I'm comfortable with this.
Were you in town, or did you just get into town?
We literally just pulled in. Like we pulled in I woke up and the bus was still moving. I'm like, am I going to be late? But we're here.
It's so weird because I knew you were coming in this morning, and then last night we had this thunder and lightning, and I was looping thunder rolls in my head last night. I woke up like 10 times.
Nice.
I don't think I got 2 hours of sleep last night. Then I started thinking about that, and then I couldn't even get that song out of my head.
Omens.
Omens, I'm telling you. Something weird's going on. But so you guys are at Megadeth, you're at Tinley, I saw, for the next next outing.
Yeah, the Megadeth is doing their break. So technically, the Megadeth guys broke it up into 2 legs.
Yep, gotcha.
And we were like, the last one's in Florida. It's going to take us 2 days driving in a bus to get home anyways.
Right.
And then to drive out to Tinley, it'd be 2 days. So it's like, we're like really going to have like 5 days off instead of whatever, 9 or whatever it actually is. I'm like, man. And so then the Mudvayne guys are like, well, we're just doing some shows. We're like, yo,
hell yeah,
we will play those shows with you. And they're like, sick. And we're like, sick. So it was a super easy decision. We got a couple, I think we have one more headliner in there. We had one headliner in Tampa, which was sick, and did a couple of Mudvayne shows, and now we'll do Mudvayne tonight. And so it's just kind of filling in while Megadeth goes home. But
that's a low ticket sale for Sylvie tonight. So
low ticket alert.
we are almost out
Get
of
on it.
tickets.
oh, that's sick.
for
Like one of the reasons, I mean, obviously we've been friends forever and stuff like that, but like we were talking about Thunder just a minute ago, and it reminded me one of the best shows that we ever played was up here. I think it was Rock USA.
Yeah.
And we didn't think the show was going to happen, right? We flew in the day, we were supposed to fly in the day before, and you know how it is in the summertime when it's hot, there's tons of thunderstorms.
Always.
And there was a boatload of thunderstorms. We were like, we got the band in the day before, and our sound guy couldn't get here, and we were like, man, I don't think we're going to be able to play if he doesn't get here. Then he got in the morning, and there were thunderstorms all day, and they kept canceling stuff, and they're like, you guys are playing. And we're like, I don't know. I'm like, we'll play, but we're like, I think you're kidding. Like, I think that you're not going to be able to do it. And they're like, no, you're going to play. And then, 2 hours before the show, they're like, like there's thunderstorms moving in, so we got to hold it back, but you guys are playing. And we're like, man, there's no way. And like 20 minutes before the show's supposed to go on, they're like, no, really, you're going to play. I'm like, this is really happening? And like, there's actual thunderstorms going on. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Just find the window.
And
they're pretty good at it.
They had us start, and I think we managed to play like 4 songs, maybe 5, but it was absolutely the sickest show. I got this one picture from the show that I have framed on my wall where it's like I'm like off in the corner, like it's from the stage, and I'm little in the corner, and all it is just the whole crowd, and you can see the rain coming down. I got 2 videos that are on my Instagram now. One's where I'm out in the crowd singing "What If I Was Nothing," and they're just going ballistic, like climbing over each other to get to the mic, and then one where we're doing 2 weeks, and literally like there's like lightning going on, thunder and lightning, and so it was an absolutely amazing day, and it's a big part of it is because of JJO and how much love you guys have given us for over the years and stuff. And
well, you put out good music, we're gonna play it.
I love you guys.
So
you guys have done so many wonderful things for us, and I really, really appreciate it. So.
Heck yeah, we're not gonna stop.
Yes.
Let's talk about the new lineup.
Yeah. So we have 3 new guys. Well, 2 new guys and 1 old guy. So Matt Dice, our bass player, he was in the band in 2003, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so, and just as the All That Remains was starting to get things together and started to get some stuff going, he got an offer from CKY.
Okay.
And so he was like a huge CKY fan. He's like, guys, this is like my favorite band. And so we're like, yeah, we know how it is. We're not bummed with you. I mean, we're bummed about the situation, but
right.
We still love you and blah blah blah. And so we had some issues with our former bass player, and we were like, well, it's time to make a change. And Matt was free. He didn't have an actual band that he was in. He'd been touring with a lot of country acts, playing session and stuff like that. Mitchell Tenpenny's one of the most, his crew's awesome, and those guys are all super nice dudes. Like we become like friends on the internet and stuff like that. They're fans of All That Remains. I'm like, this is sick.
That's awesome.
But he was available, so we're like, hey, why don't you come back? And he's an absolutely awesome musician, right? Like he's the kind of dude where like if you're playing for Nashville with country artists, you need to know your stuff because they're going to be like, hey, they're going to show you the songs and you're going to have to know what key, this is the key and you're going to have to know the notes. You're going to have to know how it all works. And so he really knows his stuff. He plays piano. He can sing. So like he's a great musician. And I kind of tell his story first because Jason Richardson and Anthony Barone, they kind of come with kind of like accolades and with bona fides that people are a little more aware of. And as great of a musician as Matt is, he still kind of gets like kind of overshadowed by Anthony and Jason because Jason Richardson's the best guitar player in the world.
Right. Period. End of story.
That's right. That's it. Like there's not stuff he can't play. You can go listen to any of his solo music and you're like, oh yeah, he is the best guitar player in the world. Mm-hmm. And so, Jason has been a friend of the band for years and years. We did some stuff with him when he was in Born of Osiris, we did some touring with him. And one of the things that Ollie said, well, first, when Ollie first met Jason and saw them, he's like, you guys have got to come see this kid. At the time, he was like 18. He's like, this kid is 18 years old, and he is absolutely astounding. So we'd go check out, Ollie would go and watch Jason play because he was so impressed with his playing. And for years after, just kind of like in conversation, Ollie would be like, look, if anything ever happened to me, you should get Jason Richardson.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so when Ollie passed away, Jason sent us this video, or I don't know if he sent it to us or if someone saw it, but he'd done a playthrough of Chiron. And I was like, that's sick. And so he was like, hey, if you guys need someone to fill in, I know you guys have a tour coming up. If you want, I'll come out and do it. And we were like, yes, we do. Come on out. And,
so rad.
Things just fell into place. And we were like, look, man, Ollie, like, no kidding around. Ollie said, like, if anything ever happened, he would want you to play. I was like, so if you want to be in the band, the spot's yours.
That's wild.
And he was like, yeah, dude, that'd be sick. Wow. So, so that was a no-brainer to us, And then as for the addition of Anthony, our other drummer, our former drummer, Jason Costa, who, we still love him to death. He just kind of, it's a lot of work to play metal like this. And he got to the point where he's just like, guys, my heart's not in it. It's and we're like, we understand.
One of the nicest dudes on the planet.
He's the best. He is absolutely the best. And he'll be coming to the show in September when we go through Boston. We've all been hitting him up. You better come.
Yeah.
You better not miss it. He's like, oh yeah, I'll be there, dude. Because I haven't seen him since like the last time he was in Chicopee when he told us. He's like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, look, we get it, but we still love you. And he's, he'd been in the band for 15 years or something like that.
That has to be. And like, just thinking about like, he had to mentally prepare himself going into that. Like that had to be so hard.
Yeah. I mean, COVID did a lot to kind of give people a different perspective on their lives, I think.
Yeah.
So a lot of people made a lot of changes in their lives, and I think that Jason kind of just was like, the touring and the things that it does to my body and the things that go on tour, I think I'm past that part in my life. And again, I got nothing but love for that guy. He will always be family. He is always, he's been the most wonderful dude. So, he made the decision that he had to go, and we called Anthony and had Anthony come and fill in on the Fall of Ideals tour back in 2022, and Anthony just, he just hits home runs. He's just an absolute monster behind the kit. Yeah. So, he's like, yeah, man, I'd be down to do it. And we're like, sick, you're the guy then, So it's been, the change may seem abrupt to a lot of people because, the last time that we released new music was 2018. We put out Victim of the New Disease. And now we've got this new record that we're starting to release stuff for. We've got 3 songs that are available now. And people, kind of like, oh, hey, there's a whole different band. But it actually was done in steps, and it was done over the course of 6 years or whatever, as opposed to, hey, we're just going to go ahead and make a big change,
Right.
So, and there's still me and Mike, stupid Mike Martin and myself,
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and it's got to be to find the people to be. It's like a marriage. You're married to these people essentially. So it's nice that you found people that you already had the chemistry with and that already naturally vibed with you. And I had never heard that story about Ollie. That's insane.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it was hard, obviously.
Yeah.
I've been been with Ollie since 2000, or I'm since 1999. You know, and to make a change like that, you know, it was. There was a time where, you know, we didn't know what it meant to be in All That Remains anymore.
Right.
You know,
I'm sure.
We didn't know what, like, how All That Remains went on after that. But with Jason being like, yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to be in the band. It was like, all right, this is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know, this is. I'm not big on like I'm kind of an agnostic kind of dude. I'm not big on
like fate.
Yeah, but right. You know, sometimes you're just like, man, this just feels right.
Yeah,
you know, this feels like the way that it should be. So it's the way that it is, and now All That Remains, and this is not intended to be critical of anybody else or anything, but All That Remains is the most talented and most proficient and the best version of All That Remains that we've ever been.
That's incredible.
The guys in the band are all world-class musicians. There's no question about that. There's a lot of bands out there where there's, you know, a couple guys in the band that are good that kind of carry the band, and then there's, you know, other guys in the band, you know, that are kind of along for the ride,
right.
or, you know. And I'm historically very critical of bass players in metal bands generally, and that's not the case with All That Remains. We've got the best band that we've ever been. You know, we are all world class musicians. So
how exciting!
It's great.
Do you think 20-year-old Phil would know that almost 40-year-old Phil
You're very kind.
would be like? I feel like it's a new stage for All That Remains, because, you know, like younger you always think like in your 20s you're like, I'm doing it right. This is I'm peaking. I'm in my youth. I got everything going on. These old people have no idea, right? And here you are. Like, did you envision you? Because I feel like it is like phase 2.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, there's a lot of things that happen in a career, especially if you've got a career, you know, if you're
spanning decades. Yeah,
you're as fortunate as I am, where, you know, All That Remains is going. We've been a band for over 25 years now. Is how long we've been a band, you know, 1990.
So weird, because you were only 15 when you started.
I think there is fate. Lightning can't kill you. Another white belt can't kill you. I feel like there's more fate here than you're giving credit for.
I mean, you know, I'm a fortunate guy.
Really?
I'm really lucky, and I think that you know, people don't realize that there's, you know, the way that careers go, there's an ebb and a flow, and there's ups and downs, and we've gone through some really hard times. You know, with when Ollie passed away, and this is 2018 where he passed away, there was a lot of time where we were like, we didn't know what was going to happen. And then there's, you know, in the 6 years that we were kind of away from the public eye, like, we did there's a lot of business stuff that was going on too. Like, so we're self-releasing this record, right? So there's no label. This is all me. Like, I'm the guy writing the checks, and we got our label to let us go. They had an option, and they were like, well, actually, we convinced them to let us go. So I've got, you know, as much as it wasn't the right fit for us anymore, being on Fearless, like, our label Razor and Tie kind of dissolved because Concord bought them, and so the Razor and Tie was just like, people were leaving the offices and nobody was replacing them.
Right.
And we were seeing that and feeling that in the way that the business side or the label side was being handled. And then we got slid on over to another label, and, you know, there was no one at the label that was like our champion, which, if you are a band that's on a label and there's no one at the label that's there, hey, these guys are my guys, and I'm excited about them, it really has an effect on, you know, what happens for the band at the label. And so we convinced the label, we're like, hey, look, it's not a right fit for us anymore, and we feel like you guys kind of agree. So I know you've got an option, but, you know, can you let us go? And they were absolutely awesome, and they said which doesn't happen. Like, labels never.
You probably lost your deposit though, like the apartment.
I did.
Yeah, you
did,
lost
you know.
$1,500
the stuff that was theirs, you know, like, because a little bit inside baseball. When you record a record for a label, the label owns the record.
Right.
So I don't own any of the old music. So they're like, well, we're keeping all this, but you can go. And I was just like, well, you know what? All right. Thank you very much, because
I got to re-record all those records. Here we go, Taylor.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Taylor Swift has the right idea. And it seems to be working for her. She seems like she's got herself a nice little career,
right.
doesn't she?
Doing okay.
She's doing okay.
We'll see. Give it another year.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so we've had a lot of, we built a studio of our own in Chicopee. We renovated and put a bunch of, gear in there,
Super cool.
and a lot of the record that we are about to release, the songs that we've done, a lot of it was done there.
Yeah.
Josh Wilbur flew out from L.A. and came, and we did some vocals there and recorded some guitars. Nowadays, you don't have to have like the big studio. We did rent Henson Sound in L.A. so we could do the drums. So that was, a great experience because there's so much history. They did We Are the World there. They mixed the Black album there. They mixed Dr. Dre's, The Chronic there. So it was super cool to be there and see all that stuff. But you don't have to have like a studio for a month to do, or 2 months or whatever to do a record anymore. Like most of the guitars Jason did at his house because he's got his own studio. I mean, he's done his own records and stuff. So a lot of times the only thing you'll rent a studio for is because of the way the room sounds for drums. So you record the drums and then everything else can be done. You can record vocals in a closet.
Right.
And I have literally done that. So,
we would be honored to have you cut a vocal in our bathroom. I swear to God, dude, if we could get that for the record.
If you get a big, heavy, like, blanket,
yes,
we can do it. I have to put the blanket over my head to sing, so that way it's not
Are
bouncing
all
off.
three of us under the blanket?
You can do that. You can do this. This can happen.
So
we have technology.
So if you're not a record company and somebody's not expecting material, I mean, is it harder to hold yourself to a deadline?
It is.
Or
Accountability is not for everybody.
Don't hear much about that these days.
We started recording, not this past February, but the previous February is when. So Jason gave us Divine, right? Jason's like, hey, this is a song I've been working on for All That Remains. And I heard it and I was like, okay, we had that for a couple months. And then I went out to LA to do vocals with Josh Wilbur, who's done, like, he does Lamb of God. He's done a bunch of Trivium stuff. He mixed Victim of the New Disease. We did The Order of Things with him. So I went out to do vocals with him and we did Divine. And that was kind of like when everybody was like, ooh, it's like, no offense to like other musicians and stuff, but when you're in a band that's writing like songs, right? Not pieces of music, not composing stuff. If you're writing songs, they don't really kind of get the point across until you get the vocals on them. So we did Divine, and I sent it to the rest of the guys, and everybody was like, "Ooh, that's kind of cool. That's something that really kind of struck a chord with us." So we started in earnest doing stuff in February of last year, and we just finished in I think April of this year. And so it took, we started writing music probably a year before that. So it is that without the label saying, hey, this is your deadline, it's harder because I'm the one that's like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, F you. I'm like, well, it's like, no, seriously, if we don't do this is going to get out. I don't want to. It's like, move it, come on, and so it's a little more difficult to light the fire.
Sure.
Because familiarity breeds contempt and all of that stuff. So.
Well, and I think it's so cool. Like, it seems like more bands than ever are ditching the label either by choice or not, and able to put out music on their own. I mean, that's something that wasn't easy to do 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, recording music has never been easier than it is now. It's still tough to promote because there's a certain amount of money that you need to have, or capital to be able to invest in stuff. And if you're starting out and you don't have anything, then you have to build the buzz and you have to figure out a way to get the music in front of people, because now it's so competitive because it's content now. It's not just music. So you're competing with, you're competing with TikTok, with just people that make funny videos, because you can sit there and scroll Instagram or TikTok or whatever for an hour and not even notice, So getting people to listen to your music is hard, and getting noticed is hard. And that's why you see, I think that's why you see a lot of new bands, not all of them, but a lot of new bands have a lot of visual with them, whether it be like Ghost or Sleep Token, or, not that Slipknot is a new band, but there's more theatrics that go along. In this moment, they're, again, not a new band, but they've got a lot of theatrics that go along with them. There's imagery that goes along. So if all you're doing is making music, even like a band like, what's that band that is essentially Led Zeppelin?
Oh.
Greta.
Yeah, Greta Van Fleet. Like
Whitesnake. Which I should be playing right now. But go ahead, Phil. Oh, go ahead.
But Greta Van Fleet, like they're not, like, they have a whole lot of imagery that goes along, is in that they look like they look just like they're from the 70s.
Right.
Like you could put them in a picture from the 70s and they wouldn't stick out at all.
But that's not a crime. That's a cool thing.
No,
man.
not at all. Not at all. Like, that my point is not to be critical. It's just to illustrate the point that there's just be like, if you were like, Nirvana wouldn't hit today.
Right.
Like there's like, people would be like guys that are just dressed up in their normal clothes that are
staring at their shoes.
Yeah, that wouldn't be something that would be, it would be really tough to get out of the pack as a band like that. Fortunately for all that remains, we have a career, and we've got friends like you guys and people that are interested in hearing our music. We got a fan base, so that's a big leg up. But for bands that are starting out, it's really hard to get people to pay attention. So there is a value in a label,
right?
But it's different to what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. For sure.
It's cool to be humble enough for somebody like you to say that, though, to understand not the enemy, but what your competition is. I mean, what you're going up against. I mean, look at how much social's out there. And by the way, I always said about Greta Van Fleet, it's like, if you like Led Zeppelin, why wouldn't you want to hear more Led Zeppelin?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Just bring it on.
Totally.
I got no problem.
And they're young, and they're doing their thing, and they're figuring out who they are, and whatever else.
I love those guys.
Yeah.
And they're getting kids into music where they're actually playing their own instruments.
Yes.
Like, keep your eye on the prize, man.
See, I was gonna go to the All That Remains show tonight, but I had to spend my money on the Greta ticket because it's twice as expensive, so I can't go to the show. No, I'm kidding. Hey, by the way, low ticket sale. So if you're gonna go to the show tonight,
we're running out of tickets.
Dude, don't wait. Don't wait. Minutes are valuable right now. Phil, it's an honor to have you come in, buddy. It's a pleasure to see you and talk to you, man.
I'd love to come out here and hang out with you guys.
It's like State of the Union in the music industry.
Right.
I love it. It's so cool to hear it from somebody, with chops. With chops. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you very much.
It's cool. Have a great weekend in town. Tinley Park, Megadeth. It's like September 3rd or so. It's next week, I think. Next week. Tinley Park, where there's no public transportation in or out. So get there early. That's what I say. But how many times you played Tinley?
I think we played Tinley one other time.
I love that frickin' facility.
I think there was a big festival in like 2016.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
It makes AmFam Theater look like, a county fair. It's so massive.
Look,
I love it.
If you're a Megadeth fan, come see the show.
Yeah.
Like, they are absolutely stellar. I mean, Megadeth's always been known to be, technically capable, but they really, really are great. It's so much fun to watch them. I'm a fan from the 90s.
Dave's like 100% healthy. Everything's clear and good.
He sounds great.
I love it.
Awesome. So.
All right, tonight, Sylvie, big weekend for us. We got Taste of Madison. We got 11 bands this weekend.
You guys going to be eating all weekend.
We're going to be. Diet starts Tuesday. Sobriety and diet starts Tuesday. We're going to join.
Shame is all weekend.
We're going to join a karate class on Tuesday.
I got to eat some cheese curds.
All right. Deal.
Yes.
We can fix that.
The JJO Morning Show podcast with Johnny and D. Listen, rate, subscribe. Catch a new show every Monday through Friday, 6 till 10 a.m. on 94.1 JJO or streaming anywhere in the JJO app. Johnny and D. Nowhere but JJO.